welcome to this episode of my 10-minute rant. And in this one I'd like to look at the horrific 2023 that the SNP have endured, and endured the rest of the country too. To be fair, we've got a few days left of 2023, so there might be some stuff yet that make it even worse. But I think one of the early barometers of how this year was going to pan out for the SNP was in the middle of February when Nicola Sturgeon stood down as First Minister without really giving us any indication as to why. There was a few pointers that would suggest that it was a quick decision and not something that she'd been considering over a very long period of time. For example, there was one thing that she joked about regular then and through the summer was a £100 bet she had on with one of the other leaders, saying that she would outlive them. Now, she tries to make fun of that, and she made a £100 something charity bet on the strength of it, but she wouldn't have done that if she'd known we would have been planning her escape, as it were. So it left a lot of people wondering what's actually the truth here. And I don't think anybody fell for she looked in the mirror one day and just decided I'm leaving. What followed possibly gave us some indications as to her true intentions, true reasons for resigning as a First Minister, because her husband and the Treasurer of the SNP, Colin Beattie, were arrested quite soon after her resignation. But her arrest didn't take place until after the party had elected its new leader. And there was some people suggesting that these two things were actually tied. The timing of her arrest and police turning up at her house and putting the big tents out happened miraculously after her, her party's leadership campaign, which I don't think coincidence is something that happens too often. I think most things, particularly in the field of politics, coincidence is a myth, and these things were tied. I suppose through time we might find out why these things were tied, but that would be that would probably need to come from freedom of information requests. And as we've seen also this year, the absolute shambles that the SNP have in dealing with freedom of information requests. I've had to go to court to be told you have to release information by people asking for information surrounding Nicola Sturgeon's evidence on the arrest of Alex Salmon for sexual misconduct, which eventually found not guilty. So the FOI, also the commissioner of the Information Commission, he left after a 6-year tenure and slaughtered the SNP, saying that their freedom of information management, record keeping, etc. wasn't fit for purpose. It's a government that keep telling us they're transparent. So that was a bit of a shambles. FOI for the whole year, probably longer, has been absolutely incredibly lax for the SNP, who want to hold others in higher standards than themselves. I've seen crazy stories. I mean, who can forget during 2023 the sight of the camper van? Yeah, the photographs of that and getting towed away. And I remembered somebody found where it was. It was some compound, and went, this £100,000 camper van that was bought by the Morel/Sturgeons from a dealership down Birmingham, I believe. I think it was new or almost brand new, which would suggest 6-figure sum for a vehicle like that. And then latterly we found out we'd also bought a £95,000 Jaguar for Peter Morel. There was a bit of debate about the sourcing for that, and the fact that the branch forum investigation is looking into this would suggest that the police see it as part of the investigations for the £600,000 missing money from the coffers. This is the £600,000 that was given by independent supporters to be ring-fenced for a future independence referendum, which hasn't happened, but money miraculously disappeared from the coffers of the SNP. The SNP bank balance was so low that Peter Morel had to give them a loan just to get them through some tough times when this £600,000 is meant to be sitting in the bank. So the branch firm thing really kicked off this year, obviously, with the 3 arrests, and also with some of the information coming out, and just the mad things like, you know, if there was drug dealers being arrested, investigated, you might not be surprised to know or hear that the police were looking for burner phones and SIM cards. Well, it's there stated factually that the police are looking for burner phones and SIM cards for this inquiry into the SNP. Totally farcical. We also had this year Mr. Humza, Yousaf. Did I say Hamas? No, I did say Humza, didn't I? Yeah. He has had this fantastic need to send 2 lots of money to the Gaza. The Gaza is notorious for receiving charitable donations which lead to deprivation for the people of the Gaza Strip. But massive munitions and, you know, money eventually getting to Hamas, the terrorist organisation that rule that country, that's not had a, you know, they were voted in, but they've not had another election since. And Humza, Yousaf, beg your pardon, he was very proud to say that Scotland had given £500,000 and then a further £250,000 to Gaza. After the £200,000, £250,000 donation, his parents and in-laws were miraculously and thankfully released from the hell of Gaza, and were one of the first group of 100 British citizens to come through the closed border, Rafah, into Egypt. Very, very nice, and I'm quite sure the £750,000 had no way connection whatsoever with them being safe passage within the first group of less than 100 actually UK citizens. It's just coincidence, I'm sure, positive. But there was also, where did this money come from? Because Scotland does not have foreign policy as per the conditions of the Scotland Act, but is allowed to give out, there's 3 tranches of money that Scotland can donate to causes throughout the world. And at the same time, the Scottish Government made a donation to the Syrian earthquake disaster, and it was quite easy to explain what pot that money came from. But the same day, there was absolutely no explanation of where this Gaza money had came from. So it'd be quite interesting to find out possibly in 2024 where the hell that came from, and how it came so quick while in-laws were held in the country that had led to war after invading Israel on the 7th of October. All strange. But then had the bizarre one where the SNP normally, when there's rumours and stuff, just simply don't respond. They just say nothing, no comment whatsoever in rumours. But there was a rumour came that 2 married SNP parliamentaries, I always say paramilitary at that, which is crazy. Anyway, 2 politicians from the SNP had apparently had an extramarital affair during COVID, during 2 lockdowns. And although some people defended this by saying what people do behind closed doors is fine, I don't think any normal-minded person would understand why some people would be a bit peeved off with that if it was to happen during COVID when the rest of us were away from our loved ones and family. I mean, personally, I stayed with my mother through COVID and tried to protect her as much as possible. So I never seen my partner for 3 months during COVID, and it looks as if there was some SNP politicians having a bit of hanky-panky with folk not even in a relationship, in a married relationship with. So, and the peculiar thing about that was the SNP decided to actually talk about that one and said categorically that it was total lies, which is bizarre, because how could they possibly know what every single one of their politicians was doing through lockdown? So to come out so defensively about it, I found very peculiar. I tell you what I found even more peculiar though, nobody in the Scottish Government, in opposition or any press, stuck a microphone in front of Humza's face and asked him some serious questions about it. Because when the story broke, he had hobnobbed off to the Middle East for the COP convention with another female. Funny that, isn't it? And one of the travelling party, had travelled totally different route from Humza to show that nothing going on there. Nothing. Nobody should show any concerns at all. We also had 2023, man, what a year. We had the Health Secretary go on holiday at New Year 2022-2023 and ended up with an £11,000 bill for his data from his government, I believe it was an iPad. And he claimed the money, got the money, paid the bill, and then it came to light 6-9 months later. But it's all right, because Michael's now going to pay the £11,000 back, so that we've just totally ignored the fact that he potentially committed fraud in the first place. It's just, no, but he paid it back. So all you unionists, all you naughty people in the press, just stop talking about it, because he's paid it back. He's paid it back. I've even seen some SNP politicians on social media demanding that people in Westminster should be sacked for telling jokes while defending a guy who's potentially committed fraud to the public purse in Scotland. They're class acts, so they are. And there was rumours about Nicola and Peter having split up during 2023, and one of the most telling pieces was when she was getting interviewed by the press after the arrests, and she spent the whole time with her left hand in her pocket. The hand wasn't shown, and there was, I think somebody suggested that even the Christmas Day photographs, Peter wasn't there. And to be fair, they've always had quite a strange relationship. Not only do they not look like a couple, if you understand what I'm saying, they tended not to act like a couple. And there have been many suggestions that indeed they had a very unusual relationship, which may or may not have involved parties out with their marital home, having relationships with these people. All very strange. But another thing that happened in 2023 was the sham of a wedding and a marriage between Morel and Nicola Sturgeon finally over. They'd probably be quite happy to try and keep this sham going, that they're a happily married couple, which from the outside certainly looked a bit odd as time went on. One of the strangest things that we've seen with during 2023 was towards the end of it, when we had Humza, Yousaf, beg your pardon. I didn't call him Hamas there, did I? Humza Yousaf. We had his wife spearheading this thing in Dundee Council, which is an SNP council, which I think is one of the sort of most pro-Indie areas in the UK, Scotland, at the Indie referendum. They've put this new thing out where you have to go up and scan QR codes on objects like lampposts and bus stops and bridges and stuff, and talk to them. Aye. You have to talk to lampposts in Dundee, and it records the information. I genuinely see, if you've seen this sort of stuff on a comedy sketch show, you would find it unbelievable. But this is real life SNP. Absolute bonkers. 2023 seen as the year of more manifesto broken promises, and this wasn't like a wee quiet one like we will abolish council tax that they told us years ago. This was one that they said quite clearly, we will not raise income tax, but they did, because they made an arse of the accounts and they were 1.5 billion out. And then Humza and the deputy leader, both guilty of this. Both, I've seen their lips move and these words come out, that the raising income tax has bridged that gap. Well, bollocks to that. It was £1.5 billion you were out. And even the largest guesses of how much tax this will really bring in is about 80 million quid. Some people suggesting it be as little as 50 million quid, because people will just change the way they do their pensions, etc. And it'll bring us in. But, twice I've seen the two of them, their lips moved and the words came out, that this raising income tax has bridged this gap. Has it? Even the best guesses of how much are still 1.4 billion away from the gap that you created. It's just nonsense. What I really think this income tax rise was for Humza, who just took to the stage apparently at the SNP conference and said, we're freezing council tax. Much to the horror of actually the people that run the councils. They were like shocked and horror, and he can't do that. So he had to promise them that he would bridge the gap, and it appears that, you know, the sort of hard-working people in Scotland now will just pay more to bridge the council tax freeze that he just took it upon himself to promise us. We've also in 2023 seen several allegations cash for seats, and some strange goings on when local party members getting overrun for future elections. It seems as if they're just parachuting people in, and looks as if they parachuted some in to the SNP. A girl called, is it Arun, who I believe is quite friendly with Hamas Useless. Yeah, apparently very friendly, and she was parachuted in. She also there was apparently her husband was quite upset with her recently for whatever that you would have to guess yourself, but her husband was so upset with her recently and he'd said some things and threatened some things, so much so that her family have been turned up to threaten him at his home, so much so that the police had to be called. But that would be no way connected at all to Hamas Useless, would it? Obviously not. Obviously not. And again, one of the maddest ones was 2023, what a year. The Murray Foot, who was the PR guy for the SNP, he was approached by newspapers suggesting that the SNP party membership had fallen dramatically over a 12-month period, and he went to the party and said, look, this is what the papers are about to print. They went, no, that's a lot of bollocks. He then done his job, went back to these papers and said, that's total bollocks, you can't print that, that's not true. Going on the strength of the information he was told by the party. Turned out the party had told their PR guru lies, who then in turn told the newspaper lies. And Murray Foot then decided at that moment that his job was just, unworkable. How can he be told? Now, if they'd said to him, yeah, the figures are actually right, it's his job then to try and spin that into not so much a positive, but less of a negative. And that's what PR guys do. But he couldn't even do that because he just told them blatant lies and he left. So all in all, 2023, from a unionist point of view, it's been a good laugh, laughing at the SNP and their cybernats and their cult, and seeing the mental gymnastics at every hurdle the cybernats have used to justify all this nonsense. It's absolutely crazy. I've even been accused of being part of an I can't remember if it was MI5 or MI6 cabal, and I'm employed apparently by the security services to put these videos out. Be great, wouldn't it? I think if I was getting paid by MI5 or MI6 to put these videos out, they'd probably be a wee bit better produced, you know, and an iPhone and a 20 quid mic. Anyway, listen folks, we've got less than a week left of 2023, so I'm being a wee bit brave putting this video out because I probably missed some material. But if anything else happens in the next few days before the year comes to a close, I'll certainly get the camera back out and have a wee pop at them because they just keep giving me so much material. Okay, so listen folks, if you enjoyed the video, give it a wee thumbs up. If you're looking for some more videos, there'll be one showing around about here that I'd recommend you watch, and hit the subscribe and the notifications, thanks. So the most important thing of all, have a great day. Bye now.